What's up, everyone? Welcome to A Jesus Marriage. I wanted to give some quick points about what I have gathered from The 4 Laws of Love by Jimmy Evans. I highly recommend getting the audiobook of that. Jimmy Evans, The 4 Laws of Love. It was great. It helped me understand some aspects of marriage that I may not have understood. One thing I recommend is learning about marriage. Get a good book by a good pastor that you trust. Maybe go to a class. I've been thinking about actually taking a class on marriage via Udemy. I just recently have seen a good sermon on marriage. But anyway, some points that I'll try to cover a lot of things that just come to my heart about what he shared. But the first thing was, not being domineering in your relationship. As we are in Christ, we're supposed to serve your spouse and serve one another instead of always looking at what can I get from this relationship? What can I get from my spouse? We have to serve our spouse. And I think that definitely came out in the book. I feel like I've been one to be kind of like domineering in the relationship, and I don't know if that's you as well. It could be either a man or a woman where you feel like you are having to tell someone, what, I know how I want the relationship to go, and so you're trying to force the relationship to happen, and that's not Christ. That's selfish ambition. And so I thought it was great that we have to have a servant spirit, and we have to, which brings me to the next point, is you need to communicate in your relationship. We need to be able to share with our spouse, things that our past. We need to share about our past. We need to share about our future. You need to have a vision for your marriage. There's a great Bible verse in Proverbs says, without vision, the people perish. And so where's your marriage going? What are some goals? Do you want to grow closer to your spouse? Do you want to talk about things that you haven't talked about, treat each other with, in a better way? And so one things that Jimmy Evans brought out, which I highly recommend, again, reading that book or going to a marriage, listening to a sermon on YouTube by Jimmy Evans about marriage. I think he has the Success of Marriage sermon out. But anyway, communicating with our spouse is very important, and I think you've heard that, but one thing he said was to check our tone. How are we communicating? Are we angry? Are we putting our spouse down? Are we calling them names? Are we not being kind to our spouse? And so those were some points that he said in the book. And then marriage doesn't just boil down to sex, and he mentioned pornography. You can't have sexual intimacy with pornography, or, you could think that you had intimacy when you were in fornication, when you were sleeping around with that person. You thought it was exciting, or you thought it was a thrill, but studies have shown that that's not where intimacy comes from, and that's going to fade. That's not going to be lasting. And so God is going to supply what you need. And which brings me up to the next point, is that you need to pray about all the relationships, all the areas of your relationship, including sex. You need to be able to talk to God. God created sex, and so it's not weird for him. He's there when you're doing it. And so he's always there. He never leaves us. And so, you need to be able to talk to him and talk to your spouse about your sexual desires or things that you don't like, things that you like, but also emotional intimacy. My point is that a relationship doesn't just boil down to sex. You have to learn how to get along. You have to learn how to, work together. And so that doesn't come naturally. One thing that he said is that when he opened up to his spouse, when Jimmy opened up to his spouse about his past, about the hurts that he's been through, it said that it brought healing to him. And then him and his spouse got counseling. And I think that's another aspect of, don't just wait to get counseling when you encounter a problem, but get counseling early on and learn about what it takes to have a successful marriage. And he also said you need to have forgiveness. There's going to be times where, more than one time, where your spouse needs you to forgive them. And it doesn't take two people, all the time to do what's right. He said that it takes one person to do what's right in the relationship. And if your spouse is not doing what's right, it just takes one person to bring that other person back onto the game, back onto what's right. And so I thought that was very powerful, and how we shouldn't be focusing on, oh, my spouse needs to do this right, my spouse needs to do that right. We need to focus on, what can I do right? How do I need to change? And of course, that comes through a relationship with Jesus. That I've seen Jesus change me, even though I feel like maybe 2 years ago, I feel like my second year of, a year ago, maybe I thought I was at a certain level, but God was like, maybe you're not as far along as you think you are. And so my whole point is that through our relationship with Christ, we can grow and we can be the spouse that we need our other spouse to be. And so we need to forgive. You have to constantly forgive your spouse, instead of coming at your spouse with, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, I'm never going to forgive you. That's not going to grow your relationship, and God said that if we don't forgive others, he won't forgive us. And where does that apply? Well, that can apply to your marriage. That can apply to all areas of your life. So anyway, that's it for the day. So I hope you got something for this. I'll try to make more marriage videos as I learn about marriage. And again, get smarter about marriage, because they don't teach it in school. You didn't have that in high school, and it should be. It definitely should be. And so sometimes we think, just dating is easy. When I dated my wife, we didn't have any problems throughout the whole dating experience, pretty much. But as soon as we got married, I feel like that's when it got more complicated. And so don't wait until it gets complicated. Learn about marriage now. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you got something from it. Hope you can learn from my advice, as well as seeking other people's advice. I definitely recommend the book by Jimmy Evans called The 4 Laws of Love. All right. See ya.